Design Talk. Mastering English for Graphic Designers. Introduction. You made a beautiful design. The colors are bright, the parts fit well, and the letters look great. You want to show your work to others, maybe a client who needs to see your ideas. But when you try to explain why you chose a certain color or why a letter looks a certain way, the words feel too simple. It's like trying to describe a song with only a few notes. You need special words to explain your design well, but they are hard to find. This can be sad. It's like having a great idea inside you but not being able to share it. In design, many people use English. If you can't explain your design in English, people might not understand, you might miss chances, and your great work might not be seen as it should be. This book, Design Talk, Mastering English for Graphic Designers, will help you talk about design better. We think good designs need good words to explain them. If you can't explain your ideas well, even the best pictures can seem less special. Many designers around the world find it hard to find the right English words for design. This book will give you the exact English words and sentences that designers use. Our goal is to help you share your ideas clearly, work better with others, and have good relationships with clients and friends who speak English. The main idea of this book is design words. This means not just knowing regular English, but knowing the special words that designers everywhere use. Think of it like a special box of tools for words. These special words are for all the parts of your design. For letters, you will learn words for different kinds of letters, how thick or thin they are, and how they make text easy to read. For example, serif means small lines on letters, and sans serif means letters without them. Turning is the space between two letters, and leading is the space between lines of words. For colors, you will learn words for different shades, how bright they are, and why some colors go well together. You will learn words like complementary for colors that are opposite on a color wheel, and analogous for colors that are next to each other. You can also say a color is vibrant bright or muted less bright. We will also talk about how to arrange things in a design, like balance and what your eye see first. Words like grid for the basic layout, white space for the empty space that makes a design look clean, and focal point for the part that grabs your attention. You will also learn words for making brands like logos and making sure everything looks the same. Even computer tools have special names like layers, vectors, and resolution. Most importantly, we will teach you words to understand what clients say. You will learn about target audience, who the design is for, mood board, a collection of ideas, and revision changes you need to make. Using these special words makes your talking very clear, saves time, makes you sound like an expert, and helps you work well with people from other countries. If you are a graphic designer, web designer, UI/UX designer, art director, or anyone who makes visual things and talks to clients or coworkers in English, this book is for you. Maybe you live in a country where your language is spoken, but you want to find clients in other countries. Or maybe you work in a company where everyone speaks English and you want to feel more sure of yourself in meetings. You could be a student starting out and want to make a good first impression. Or you might be an experienced designer who wants to speak English better and make sure your ideas are always understood. If you often look for the right word when talking about design, or if you felt your explanation of a design didn't work, this book will help. By the end of this book, you will have the confidence and the words to talk about design with great detail. You will be able to explain why you made certain design choices so others understand. You will understand what clients want easily. Giving and getting feedback will be helpful, not confusing. You will be able to show your work in a way that makes a strong impression. Working with others will be easier, especially with teams from different countries. This book will help you find more job chances and work on exciting projects around the world. It's not just about learning words. It's about having the confidence and clarity to share your creativity and do well. In your design job everywhere, we will look closely at different design parts, with the important words for letters, colors, layouts, brands, and more. Each part will be easy to understand, with clear examples and chances to practice. 1. Learning design vocabulary. Imagine you are in a busy design place, maybe in a big city like London or New York. It is quiet, but you can hear the clicking of computer keys and soft talking. You are working on something for a very important person who is paying you. Your boss, Sarah, who speaks English very well, asks what you think of the newest version of your work. You have an idea, a feeling about what looks good and what does not. But when you try to tell Sarah, the words do not come out right. You might say, "The letters look a bit thick," or "the colors are not happy." Sarah nods her head, but you can see she is a little confused. She asks, "Can you tell me more? Do you mean how thick the letters are, or how bright the colors are?" Suddenly you feel angry. You know what you mean, but you do not have the right English words to say it. This happens a lot, and knowing the special words for design can help a lot. Just like doctors have words for sickness and lawyers have words for laws, designers have their own special words. This is not to make things hard, it is to make things clear. We call these special English words and phrases graphic design words. They are like tools that help us talk about what we do very clearly. Think of it like this. If you are building a house, you need to know the difference between a big wood piece and a smaller wood piece. If you are cooking a fancy meal, you need to know what cook quickly in a little oil means compared to cook slowly in liquid. In design, these words help us talk about letters, colors, how things are placed on a page, and much more. For many designers, English might be their second language, and that is okay. But when you work with people who pay you or people you work with who speak English, or when you look at design ideas from other countries, these special words become very important. They help connect your creative ideas to the people you are working with. Without them, your good ideas might get lost when you try to explain them, and people might not understand. Imagine you spent a lot of time picking the perfect letters for a company. You feel they look fancy, new, and professional. But if you can only say, "nice letters," the person paying you might not understand why you chose them. They might ask for changes that do not fit your idea, not because they do not like your design, but because they do not fully understand why you chose those letters and what they say about the company. This is where the power of special graphic design words helps. They let you explain why you made your design choices. Not knowing the special design words can cause big problems. It can affect how long a project takes, if the person paying you is happy, and even your job. When a designer cannot explain their ideas well in English, many problems can happen. For example, a client might ask for changes because they did not understand what the designer meant. If you cannot explain that a certain color was chosen to make people feel safe and calm, and the client just says, "I do not like this blue," you might change the color to something that ruins your original goal. This can lead to many changes, wasting time and money for both you and the client. Projects can be late, which can hurt your reputation. In worse cases, if you cannot talk clearly, clients might stop giving you work because they want to work with someone they can understand more easily. It can also feel bad when you feel your skills are not being used fully because you cannot explain yourself. This is why learning the special words for design is not just about words, it is about doing your best. Work and building good relationships with clients and coworkers. Also, just knowing everyday English is often not enough for talking about design. You might be able to talk about the weather or news, but when you need to talk about the small difference between two types of letters, or how a certain color makes people feel about a brand, you need the special words. Everyday words might let you say the writing looks old, but graphic design words let you say, I worry this. Old-style letter might look too old-fashioned for a brand that wants to look new and simple. Do you see the difference? One is a feeling. The other is a clear, professional opinion. This level of detail is important to show how deeply you think and why you make your design choices. Knowing graphic design words also helps you show and explain your design choices well. When you can clearly say why you chose a certain way to place things, a certain set of colors, or a special type of letter, you are not just showing a design, you are showing a smart answer to a problem. You can talk about the look order of a design, explaining how you guide people's eyes to see the information. You can talk about empty space and how it helps make things look balanced and focused. You can talk about brand sameness and how your design keeps it. Being able to explain your thinking changes you from someone who just makes pretty pictures to someone who uses pictures to communicate ideas. When a client or coworker understands why you made your choices, they are more likely to trust you and support your ideas. It is like a lawyer giving a good argument. The clearer they explain, the more people believe them. Your design choices become planned, smart, and can be explained, not just things you like. Building a good name for yourself is another big help. When you use the right English words in a professional place, you show that you know what you are doing and are serious about your work. Imagine two designers showing their work. One says, I made the logo bigger so it is easy to see. The other says, I made the logo bigger to make it stand out more and be seen easily on different things. Which designer sounds more professional? Which one makes you trust them more? The second designer, by using words like bigger, stand out, and seen easily on different things, shows they understand design ideas and how to use them. This is not about using big words to sound smart. It is about using the right words that people in the design world understand and respect. It shows you have spent time learning the special language of your job, and that you are a serious person in this field. Let's look at an example. Maya, a good designer from Brazil, was working with a new client in the United States on making a website. Look new. The client was excited, but did not know many design words. Maya had made a homepage that used a lot of white space, or what we call empty space. She felt it made the page look clean and fancy, letting the words and pictures have room. When she showed it, the client said, "It looks a bit empty. Can we fill up the empty parts?" Maya felt sad. She knew empty was not the right word, but she had trouble finding the English words for what she wanted to create. She tried saying, "It is supposed to look clean," but the client still looked confused. Finally, Maya remembered a class she took. She took a deep breath and said, "I have used a lot of empty space on purpose here. This means the areas around the words and pictures. It helps make the page feel calm and focused. It makes the important things, like your main message and the button to take action, stand out more clearly. If we fill it all up, it might look messy and make the user feel confused." She then pointed to a spot and explained, "This large white space here helps guide the eye right to the place where people can sign up, making it easier for them to do what we want them to do." The client's face became bright. So it is not empty, it is roomy? And it helps people see what is important. I understand now. This simple change in words, from empty to empty space, and explaining why it is there, completely changed how the client saw it. Maya did not just save her design. She taught her client and made their working relationship stronger. She showed that her choices were not random, but were based on design ideas, and she explained them well in English. This is the power of graphic design words working. It changed a moment of not understanding into a moment of being clear and working together. Being able to explain your design choices well is not just about saying what you did. It is also about how you can listen to and understand what others say. When a client or coworker gives feedback, understanding the special words they use is very important. If someone says, "The space between these letters looks a bit too small in this headline," and you know that space between the letters is what they are talking about, you can quickly see the problem and know how to fix it. If you do not know what they mean, you might nod your head, but you will not be able to make the right changes, or you might make the wrong ones. This can lead to a frustrating situation where feedback is given, but not understood or used correctly, which hurts the working relationship and the design itself. When you decide to learn graphic design words, you are helping your career. You are giving yourself the tools to explain your ideas, to work easily with people from other countries, to understand and respond to feedback with exactness, and to show your work with the confidence and professionalism it deserves. It is not just about learning words, it is about understanding design better and how to share that understanding with the world. It is about making sure your creativity is not stopped by your ability to explain it. Now that we know how important special words are for talking about design, we can start looking at the main parts of design where these words are most needed. In the next parts, we will look at the important English words for understanding and talking about letters, colors, and how things are placed. The basic parts of good-looking design. 2. Sharing design ideas. In the world of design, your ideas are the most important part. But sometimes, it's hard to tell others about your great ideas, especially in English. This guide will help you learn how to share your design ideas in clear English. It's not just about knowing words for colors or letters. It's about explaining why you picked them, what feeling they give, and how they help the project. This skill helps connect your ideas to clients, your team, and makes your design successful. Think about the time you spent making a design. You know exactly what you want it to say. But when you need to explain it, or if someone asks why this color, or what's the point of this look, you might struggle for words. This is common. That's why learning English words for design is so helpful. It helps you move from just seeing things to explaining why they are there and what they do. Let's learn how to share your design ideas well. Explaining why you picked things, the reason behind your choices. It's easy to point to something and say, "This is a certain type of letter," or "This is a dark blue." But the real skill is explaining why you chose it. This is where you connect your choices to what the project needs, who you want to reach, or what feelings you want to create. For example, imagine you picked a certain font for a website. You don't just say, "I used this font." You could say, "We picked this font because it looks clean and is easy to read on screens. It feels new, which is good for a technology company." Here, you didn't just name the font. You explained what it's like: clean, easy to read, new, and why it fits the situation screens tech company. Color is also important to explain. If you used a bright orange for a toy brand for kids, you wouldn't just say, "It's orange." You could say, "We used bright orange to show the fun and energy of being a kid." It's a color that gets attention and feels happy, making the toy look good to kids and parents. You are explaining the feeling the color gives and why it attracts the right people. These explanations build trust. They show clients that your choices are planned, not just random. Using phrases that link your choices to goals is a good way to talk. Try using phrases like, "We picked design part because it helps us do project goal." "This design part is good for our audience because it shows feeling quality." "We used design part to make it feel mood idea." Talking about the big picture and feeling. Sometimes, a design is not just about single parts. It's about the whole feeling, the mood, the story it tells. Explaining this big picture can be hard, but it's important so everyone understands. You need words to describe the feelings of your design. When you talk about the look, you mean the overall style. You might say, "The overall look for this brand is simple and fancy." This tells people the design will be clean, nice, and maybe a bit special. Or, if you are making an app, you might talk about the user experience. You could say, "We want people to find the app easy to use and feel good when they use it." This means people should be able to use the app without thinking too hard, and they should feel happy doing it. Think about words that describe feelings. For style, new, old-fashioned, fancy, simple, exciting, calm, strong, soft. For mood, feeling, friendly, safe, fun, rich, cheap, serious, happy, mysterious. For effect, eye-catching, memorable, strong, interesting, inspiring, peaceful. Using these words helps your audience imagine the design. They can feel the emotion and understand what you mean even before they see everything. Showing and explaining how things are arranged. Layout and how things are placed are about putting all the parts of your design, words, pictures, shapes, on the page or screen. It's like putting furniture in a room so it looks good and is easy to walk around. Explaining your layout choices uses words that talk about how things look in order and how your eyes move. When you talk about balance, you mean how the visual weight of things is spread out. A design can be the same on both sides, like a mirror. This often feels steady and formal, or it can be different on both sides but still look good. You might say, "The layout that is different on both sides makes the design more interesting." This means the uneven look makes the design feel more exciting. Hierarchy is about guiding the viewer's eyes. What do you want them to see first, then second, then third? You can make some things bigger, darker, or put them in an important spot to create hierarchy. You could explain, "We made a clear order, so the viewer's eyes go through the most important information first." This tells people you thought about what they should see first, making sure the main parts get noticed. Other helpful words for layout and arrangement include alignment, how things line up with each other, e.g., words on the left, pictures in the middle. Proximity, how close or far apart things are, which shows if they go together or are separate. White space or empty space, the empty areas around things. You might say, "We used a lot of empty space to make the design feel calm and not too full." Grid, a basic set of lines that helps organize things. You might say, "The design follows a strict grid for a neat look." Flow, the path your eyes take through the design. By using these words, you can explain how your arrangement of things creates a certain effect, like making information easy to understand, creating order, or adding excitement. Using words to compare for feedback and changes. Design is often a process of trying things. You might show different options, or clients might ask for changes. Being able to compare different versions and say what you like or don't like using comparison words is important for working together. When comparing two design options, you can point out what's different. This option feels more exciting, while that one is calmer. This clearly shows the different feelings of each choice. You can also talk about small changes. This version is a little stronger than the last one. This uses a word like little to show a small but noticeable difference. Here are some useful comparison words and phrases. Words: more, less, bigger, smaller, brighter, darker, stronger, weaker, simpler, harder, more pleasing, less good. Words that show how much, a little, much, clearly. Phrases: compared to the first try. In this new version, this option has more, this way has less. For example, if a client wants a logo to be bigger, you can say, "Yes, we can make the logo a bit bigger." In this new version, it is now slightly more noticeable, which helps it stand out more on the business card. This kind of language makes feedback clear and ensures changes are understood. It helps avoid confusion when talking about what needs to be changed or what to do next. Your own story of sharing design ideas. Let me tell you about a designer named Anya. Anya was very good at her job. Her designs were always new and creative. She was working on a project for a client from another country. It was her first time showing her ideas in English. She had prepared well, her visuals were amazing, but when she started explaining her choices, she had trouble. She pointed to some colors and said, "This color, it is good for the feeling." The client looked confused. Anya meant the colors made people feel safe and professional, but her English wasn't good enough to say it. She showed them a layout and said, "This is how the eye goes." Again, the client didn't fully understand that she was talking about guiding the viewer's attention. Anya started to lose confidence. She saw that her ideas weren't being understood and knew her great ideas weren't getting across. The client, though patient, was clearly finding it hard to understand her vision. The project, which could have been great, started to feel difficult. After this, Anya knew she needed more than just design skills. She needed the language to go with them. She started to learn and practice the English words specifically for explaining her work. She focused on phrases for explaining why, describing feelings, explaining layout, and using comparison words. The next time she worked with a client from another country, it was very different. When she showed her new ideas, she confidently said, "We chose these warm, natural colors to show that the brand is real and easy to connect with. This fits well with your company's focus on being good for the earth." She explained her layout by saying, "The way we arranged things here makes the design flow well, leading the viewers eyes from the main message to the button to click, making sure the important parts are easily seen." The client understood right away. They saw how her design choices matched their company's goals. They could feel the mood she wanted to create. Anya wasn't just showing them nice pictures, she was explaining the smart thinking behind every part. This clear talking made the project go much smoother, the client was happy, and the design truly showed what the brand was about. Anya's story shows that learning English for design isn't just about words. It's about being able to share your creative power and work well with others. By focusing on these things, explaining why, describing the mood, explaining the layout, and using comparison words, you gain the tools to share your design ideas well. This is what good design language is for. It helps you not only make beautiful designs, but also explain their value and purpose clearly and with confidence. Now that we have learned how to share our design ideas, the next important step is to learn the specific words needed to talk about and improve the basic parts of design, starting with the building blocks of how we see things. Typography. 3. Using the right words. It happens to many of us. You have a great idea, a clear picture in your head for a logo, a website look, or a poster. You can see it perfectly and explain it easily in your own words. But then, you need to talk about it with someone who speaks English, like a client or a coworker from another country. Suddenly, the right words are hard to find. You try to describe a font you like, the one with pretty curves, but you just say that nice writing. Or you want to say why a blue color feels calm, but you can only say the soft blue. You get frustrated, worried your good design idea will be misunderstood. I knew a designer, let's call her Anya. Anya is very skilled. She was working for a company with offices in different countries. They needed a new look for their company. Anya made a beautiful logo. It was simple, modern, and had a small, special detail that made it unique. She wanted to tell the client about this detail, as it was very important to what made her logo special. She tried her best, using her hands and simple English words. She said, "The shape, it has a little curve that goes out, then comes back in. It is like a gentle wave." The client looked confused. They nodded, but Anya could see they didn't really understand what made her design special. Later, Anya learned the exact English word for that small, thin curve. It was filigree. When she explained the logo again, using the word filigree, the client's eyes lit up. They finally understood the careful work and the elegant touch Anya had added. That one word helped them see the value in her work. This shows the power of graphic design words. It's not just about knowing fancy words, it's about having the right words to share your creative ideas. This book, Design Talk, is here to give you those words. We want to make sure that when you have a great design idea, you have the English words to explain it clearly, with confidence and with accuracy. Think of graphic design words as your professional tools. Just like a builder needs a hammer and a saw, a graphic designer needs specific words to create and explain their visual work. These are not just random words. They are the words that designers all over the world use to talk about shapes, colors, empty spaces, and feelings in design. Why are these specific words so important? First, it's about being very clear. When you use exact English design words, there is no doubt about what you mean. Imagine you were talking about fonts. You might say, "I like the font with the little decorative lines at the end of each letter." That's okay, but it's a bit unclear, right? What if you use the correct word? You could say, "I prefer a serif font." This immediately tells anyone who knows about fonts that you mean fonts like Times New Roman or Georgia, which have those small lines, or serifs, at the ends of their letters. Or, if you want a font that looks clean and modern, without those extra lines, you can say, "Let's use a sans serif font." This instantly tells people what you want. The word sans means without in French, so sans serif means without serifs. This simple change from describing to using a specific word makes your message much clearer and faster. It means less time explaining and more time creating. Think about another situation. You were talking about colors. You might want to show a feeling of warmth and energy. You could say, "We need a bright, happy color." But what if the client is thinking of a light yellow and you are thinking of a strong orange? A misunderstanding? Instead, you can use exact color words. If you want that energetic, warm feeling, you might suggest using warm colors like reds, oranges, and yellows. If you want something cool and calm, you would talk about cool colors such as blues, greens, and purples. Knowing these groups helps you guide the conversation and make sure everyone agrees on the feeling you want to create. It's like speaking a secret language that all designers understand, making your talk smoother and more helpful. This brings us to our second important point, building trust and looking professional. When you can confidently use the correct English design words, you show that you understand your work very well. It tells clients and coworkers, "I know what I am talking about." It's like wearing a nice suit to an important meeting. It shows you respect the event and the people you are meeting. If you were talking about how things are arranged, for example, and you can talk about alignment, how things line up, hierarchy, what is most important, negative space, empty areas, and balance, how things feel stable using the right English words, you are showing a smart understanding of how design parts work together. This builds trust. Clients are more likely to believe in your skills and your suggestions when you speak with knowledge. They see you not just as someone who can make things look nice, but as a smart thinker who understands the reasons behind good visual communication. Think about it. If you were going for a job interview or presenting a new project, and you can explain your design choices using exact graphic design words, you immediately stand out. You sound more professional, more informed, and more capable. This is not about using big, difficult words to impress people. It's about using the right words that accurately describe your ideas and show your knowledge. It's the language of your job, and speaking it well opens doors. Third, learning these words is very important for connecting people from different cultures and languages. In today's world, graphic designers often work with people from all over the globe. English has become the common language for business and technology, and that includes the design world. When you can talk about design ideas using a common set of English words, you create a bridge that everyone can use. It doesn't matter if you are in New York, Tokyo, or Berlin. If you can talk about typography, fonts, color theory, how colors work, layout principles, how to arrange things, composition, how elements are put together, and branding, creating a company's identity using the standard English vocabulary, you can work together well. This shared language reduces the chances of misunderstanding, which can cost time and cause frustration. It allows for smooth teamwork, clear feedback, and, in the end, more successful projects. Imagine a team working on a website. One designer might be in the US, another in India, and a client in the UK. If they all understand and use words like user interface, UI elements, parts of the screen you interact with, call to action, a button, or link that tells people what to do, grid system, an invisible structure for arranging things, and visual flow, how the eye moves through a design, they can talk about the project's needs and progress without getting stuck by language differences. This shared vocabulary is a powerful tool for global design success. Finally, understanding these basic words is the start for learning more. This book is made to guide you step by step. We are starting with the basics, the essential words you need for everyday design conversations. But these basic words are also the building blocks for more advanced ideas. Once you are comfortable talking about simple shapes and colors, you can move on to discussing more complex ideas like Gestalt principles, how our minds see visual things as a whole, color psychology, how colors affect feelings, or the details of user experience, UX design, how easy and enjoyable a product is to use. Without a good understanding of the basic graphic design words, trying to understand these more advanced topics can feel very difficult. By focusing on learning these essential words first, we are giving you a strong base to build your skills and confidence. It's like learning your ABCs before you can read a book. Let's look at some common situations where not having the right words can cause problems. Suppose you are working on a leaflet and want to describe how text and pictures are arranged. You might say, I want the pictures to be here and the words to be there, in a neat way. This is where words like layout and composition become very important. You could say, let's arrange the layout using a strong grid system to make sure things line up well and feel balanced. This immediately shows a professional way of organizing the visual parts. The client understands you were thinking about structure and order. In the same way, if you want to talk about the feeling or mood of a design, you might say, it should feel exciting and modern. The correct words would be to talk about the visual hierarchy, what the viewer sees first, second, and so on, and how it creates a certain impact or tone. You might say, we need to create a clear visual hierarchy to guide the viewer's eye and give the brand an exciting, modern tone. This is much more exact and professional. Another example, A client wants a website that is easy to use, especially for people who are not very good with technology. You might say, people should be able to find what they want easily. The exact words here are user-friendliness and intuitive design. You could explain, the website needs to be user-friendly with an intuitive design so that visitors can find their way around and get information easily without needing instructions. This shows you understand the ideas behind good user experience. The client understands that you are thinking about their audience's needs and designing with ease of use in mind. These are not just words. They are ideas that guide good design work. How does using these exact English design words directly help with getting better feedback from clients or working better with a team? When you use specific words, you invite more specific and helpful feedback. Instead of a client saying, "I don't like it," they might say, "The kerning space between letters in this heading feels a bit too close together. Can we make it a little wider?" This kind of feedback tells you exactly what needs to be changed. You can then answer with confidence, perhaps saying, "Yes, I see. We can adjust the kerning to make it easier to read." This conversation is helpful because it is based on understanding each other. For teamwork, clear language means fewer guesses. If you are working with other designers, computer programmers, or project managers, using words like wireframe a basic sketch of a page, mock up a more detailed design, prototype a working model, or style guide rules for how things should look, make sure everyone knows what part of the process you are talking about and what is expected. It prevents confusion about what needs to be delivered and when. It creates a feeling of working together towards a common goal and sharing knowledge. When you can explain your design choices using the correct graphic design words, you are not just describing something visual, you are explaining the reason behind it, the smart thinking that went into its creation. This leads to more meaningful discussions, better ways to solve problems, and, in the end, designs that are not only good-looking, but also effective and in line with the project's goals. It changes conversations from vague ideas into clear steps towards a shared vision. Learning these basic words is the first, important step in your journey to becoming someone who communicates more confidently and effectively in the global design world. It's about reaching your full potential and making sure your creative voice is heard clearly, no matter who you are talking to. Now that we understand how important exact language is for design communication, let's start building our vocabulary by looking at one of the most basic parts of visual design: type. 4. Presenting to clients. When you meet with someone to show them your design work, it's more than just showing pictures. It's your chance to share your thoughts, to explain why you made certain choices, and to build trust. For people who create designs, especially when working with clients who speak English, having the right words can make a big difference. It helps you sound sure of yourself, professional, and clear. This is not just about knowing words. It's about using them to tell the story of your design. Let's start at the very beginning of a presentation. You've met the client, you've looked at their project, and now it's time to show what you've created. A good start can make the whole meeting feel good. You might begin by saying hello and reminding everyone what you're here to do. Something simple like, "Hello, everyone. It's good to have you here today. We're excited to share the design ideas for the new client's project name project." This is a friendly way to start. Then, you want to quickly remind everyone of the main goals. This shows you listened and understood what they need. You could say, "Before we look at the pictures, let's quickly go over our main goals for this project. As we talked about, the key things we want to do are mention Goal 1. For example, help more people know about your brand, and mention Goal 2. For example, reach younger people." This simple step helps everyone focus and confirms you are on the same page. It's about using clear, direct English to create a shared understanding right from the start. Now comes the main part of the presentation, explaining your design choices. This is where your design words truly shine. It's the special set of English words and phrases that let you explain your creative ideas. When you can explain why you chose a certain font, color, or way of arranging things, you're not just describing them, you're showing the smart thinking behind them. This helps clients understand that your design choices are on purpose, not by chance. Let's talk about fonts or letter styles. Simply saying I chose this font isn't very helpful. Instead, you can use specific words. If you've chosen a font with little feet at the ends of the letters, you call it a serif font. You might say, for the main titles, we've used a classic serif font. We chose this because serif fonts often feel old and trustworthy, which fits well with your brand's known reputation. On the other hand, fonts without those little feet are sans serif. You could explain, for the main writing, we've chosen a clean sans serif font. This choice helps it be easier to read, especially for long pieces of text, making sure people can easily understand the information. You also talk about order of importance. This means showing what's most important on the page. We've created a clear order of importance with the letters. You might explain. The biggest, boldest font for the title immediately gets attention, followed by slightly smaller subtitles, and then the main writing. This guides the reader's eye through the information in a sensible way. You can also talk about thickness. How thick or thin the letters are. We used a lighter thickness for smaller text to create a gentle difference and keep a feeling of openness. You could say, even the height of the small letters, called X height, can be important. A larger X height in this font helps it be readable when it's small. Using these words shows you understand the technical parts and how they affect the overall message. Color is another strong tool, and the design words for it are many. When talking about color groups, you're not just listing colors. You're talking about how they work together. You might say, our main color group uses color 1 and color 2. We chose these because they are opposite colors. They are across from each other on the color circle, creating a strong visual difference that makes the design stand out. Or maybe you've used colors that are next to each other on the circle. We've also used nearby colors, like color 3 and color 4, to create a feeling of calm and smooth visuals. Beyond just the names of colors, you can talk about their qualities. Hue is the color itself, like red, blue, green. Saturation is how strong or pure the color is, how bright it is. We've used a very bright blue to show energy and excitement. You might explain. Brightness or value is how light or dark a color is. By using a brighter shade of yellow, we wanted to create a feeling of hope and warmth. Most importantly, you can explain how colors make people feel. This dark purple makes people feel rich and fancy, which is perfect for your brand. This connects the visual part to what the client wants their brand to seem like. When you talk about arrangement and how things fit together, you're describing how all the parts fit on the page or screen. The guidelines are a basic tool. We've built this design using a strong guideline system. You might say, this makes sure that all parts line up and create a feeling of order and professionalism. Empty space, also called blank space, is the empty areas in the design. It's not wasted space, it's important. We've intentionally used a lot of empty space to give the design room to breathe. You could explain. This helps to make the important parts stand out and stops the design from feeling too full. Lining up is about how parts match up. We've lined up the text to the left to create a clear and easy-to-read structure. Balance is about how visual weight is spread out. The arrangement feels balanced, with the main picture on the left being supported by the text and graphics on the right. The main focus is what you want the viewer to see first. The bright red button to take action is the main focus, drawing the viewer's eye right away. And visual path is the way your eye naturally moves through the design. The way these parts are arranged creates a natural visual path, leading the viewer from the title down to the contact information. Even when talking about pictures and graphics, specific words are helpful. Instead of just pictures, you can say, "We've used good quality photos from a library that show your target customers." Or, if you've paid for special art, "This special drawing was made to perfectly show the unique spirit of your brand." When it comes to small symbols, you talk about icons. The style of icons we've used is simple and modern, making sure they are clear and the same everywhere. Beyond explaining your choices, a very important part of showing clients your work is handling their thoughts. This is where listening carefully and talking clearly are most important. When a client tells you about a worry, your first step is to show you've heard them. Phrases like, "I understand your worry about the small text being hard to read," or "So, if I'm hearing you right, you want the main picture to feel more exciting?" Show you are paying attention and thinking about what they say. Sometimes, you might need more information. Asking polite questions to understand better is key. Instead of just saying "What?" try, "Can you tell me more about what you mean by more lively?" Or what part of the colors are you talking about when you say it feels a bit dull? This helps you understand their point of view better and avoids confusion. When clients suggest changes, you need to be able to answer in a helpful way. It's not about defending your first design, but about working together to find the best answer. You can talk about suggestions for changes in a good way. One way we could try to fix that is to make the difference between the title and the background a little stronger, you might suggest. Or, we can definitely change how those parts are spaced to better fit what you need. Maybe we can try suggested change? This shows you are willing to change and want to reach their goals. Let's imagine a situation. Picture Sarah, a design artist, showing a new website designed to a new technology company. The client, Mr. Lee, is excited but a little unclear. "Sarah, Mr. Lee says I like it, but it needs more wow." Sarah smiles kindly. "Thank you, Mr. Lee. I understand you're looking for a bit more energy and impact." When you say wow, are you thinking about brighter colors, maybe a more exciting movement, or something else specific? Mr. Lee touches his chin. Maybe brighter colors. And the logo placement feels a bit still. Sarah nods, writing it down. "Okay, I see. So, about the colors, we've used a main group of color A and color B to show that you are reliable and new. We can definitely look at making these colors stronger to make them brighter." And for the logo placement, when you say still, are you talking about where it is or how it shows up on the page? "Where it is, Mr. Lee says. It feels a bit too far to the left, maybe?" "That's helpful feedback," Sarah says. "We can try moving it a little to the right, or maybe putting it in a more lively way with the main menu." We could also think about a small movement when the page first shows up to make its appearance more interesting. How does that sound? By using exact design words like saturation, lively, placement, and menu, Sarah guides the conversation. She doesn't just agree vaguely, she asks questions that lead to clear feedback. She then offers solutions using words like difference, spacing, and movement, showing her skill and willingness to work together. This thoughtful way of talking makes the feedback session helpful, not annoying. Finally, as you finish your presentation, it's important to have a clear and professional ending. This shows you are professional and sets what will happen next. You can summarize the main choices made during the meeting. So to go over it again, we've agreed to look at brighter colors that are stronger, and we will move the logo placement a little to the right. We will also look into a small movement when the logo shows up. Then clearly state the next steps and when they will happen. My team will make these changes, and you can expect to see an updated version by date. We'll set up a short call on date to look at those changes. This gives a clear plan and manages what you expect. Always end by saying thank you and showing you are partners. Thank you again for your time and helpful thoughts today. We're really excited about the direction this is going and look forward to continuing to work together to make this project a success. The most common problems designers have when showing their work to English-speaking clients often come from not having enough special words. They might find it hard to explain why they made their design choices, making clients think the choices were random. For example, a designer might feel a layout is too busy, but not have the English words like messy, too full, or not enough empty space to say it well. This can lead to unclear client feedback like make it better or I don't like it, which are hard to act on. On the other hand, having strong design words lets designers explain their choices not just because they look good, but because they are smart. For example, explaining that a specific font was chosen for its great readability when small, and its ability to show a sense of importance directly connects the design part to the client's goals of clear talking and how the brand is seen. When a client understands that a design choice is made for a specific, explainable reason that helps their business goals, they are more likely to trust the designer's skill. These words change a presentation from just showing pictures to telling a strong story about how the design will achieve what the client wants. It's the difference between saying I think this looks good and this layout is made to create a clear visual path, leading the user to the action button, which will increase sales. The second one is much more convincing and shows a deep understanding of how design helps business. By learning. Conclusion. Design is a way to speak with pictures, and it is understood by people everywhere no matter where they live or what language they speak. But even the best ideas can be missed if we cannot explain them well. This book gave you the special English words you need to help others understand your creative ideas. We learned together how to talk about the main parts of design. Now you have the key, your better graphic design words, to help you speak more clearly, build better friendships with clients and coworkers, and let your design skills shine around the world. Think about times when a simple idea was hard to explain, or when a client's thoughts did not seem to fit. We wanted to help you with those hard moments. This book gave you the right words to connect with others, so your great designs are not just seen, but truly understood. We looked at many important parts of design, and each part added to your graphic design words. Remember, when we talked about letters and fonts, you learned to describe the soft curves of a serif font, the straight lines of a sans serif font, and how the space between letters, called kerning, helps words to be read easily. You can now talk about how thick or thin a font is, from light and thin to strong and bold. You can also explain how the space between lines of text, called leading, makes a page easier to read and flow nicely. You can now say not just the name of a font, but also what feeling and job it does in a design. Then we explored the world of colors. We moved past just saying blue or red. We learned to talk about how colors go well together, like similar colors or colors that are opposite each other. We learned how colors can make people feel, like a calm, cool color feeling or an excited, warm color feeling. You learned the difference between colors for screens, called RGB, and colors for printing, called CMYK. You also learned how to use a bright accent color to get people's attention. These words help you talk about how colors make people feel with confidence. Our study of how to arrange things gave you the words to organize pictures and words, so they make sense. You can now talk about how to make the most important things stand out, so people see them first. We talked about using white space, also called empty space, to help things look clean and clear. Knowing about grids and how to make your design feel balanced are now skills you have. These help you explain the structure that makes a design look good and professional. We also looked at other important areas. For branding, you can now talk about brand rules and how a design fits with a company's look and feel. When it comes to getting ideas from others, you have words to give and get helpful advice. You can talk about how people will use the design or the call to action parts that tell people what to do. Each part of this book helped build your graphic design words to cover all the needs of your job. Now, let's talk about what all this learning means for you. It is more than just knowing words. It means you can get real benefits that can help your career. When you talk to clients, using clear English words like brand sameness or talking about how people will use the design makes them trust you. They see you as someone who knows their job and understands what they need. This clear talking helps build trust, leading to better instructions and helpful ideas that make your design better, instead of confusing you. Imagine a client saying, "I like this, but can we make the button to click stand out more?" You now have the words to understand and answer them well. When you work with people from other countries, knowing these graphic design words is very helpful. Clear talking stops mistakes that cost time and money. It makes the design process faster and makes sure everyone is working towards the same creative goal. When you can explain your design ideas clearly, you need fewer changes. Your work becomes easier and faster. This shared way of talking helps you focus your creative energy on making great designs, not on trying to understand unclear directions. In the end, these better talking skills can help you move forward in your career. Being able to show your work with confidence, explain why you made certain design choices, and work well with others in English can lead to new chances, projects with people from other countries, and better jobs. This is not just about talking. It is about showing yourself as a skilled, flexible designer who is ready for new challenges. Your better graphic design words are your new superpower in meetings with clients and when talking with your team. Remember, this book is a start, a place to begin your learning. Learning words is a trip, not a place to stop. The best way to make sure you remember what you learned is to use your new graphic design words often. Try practicing with coworkers or other designers. Make it a habit to look at and think about design things in English, websites, articles, videos, and notice the words they use. Keep a notebook of new words and phrases you find. Most importantly, find chances to show your work in English, whether it is a quick update to a teammate or a more formal talk with a client. Practicing all the time will turn these new words into helpful friends, making you more fluent and confident with every conversation. You have spent time and energy building your graphic design words, and the rewards will be great. You are now better able to share your unique creative ideas, explain why you made your design choices, and work smoothly with people from all over the world. The language of design is strong, and when you can speak it clearly and with confidence in English, you can bring even more amazing ideas to life. Go and design with confidence, and speak the language of design with clarity and power.